I think he's very, very frustrated by the way that President Trump is handling this. He's concerned about the precedent that's being set by a federalizing of the National Guard, the idea of Marines moving in. That's not something that you see on the streets of America. There has been a sort of a separation on that front. And so he's worried about where this goes next.
Protesters and police are still facing off in Los Angeles, with standoffs currently in the Arts District and Little Tokyo. Throughout the day, police used what are known as flashbangs and rubber bullets to disperse protesters after objects were thrown at them. The protests are against officials who've been sent in by Donald Trump to remove illegal immigrants. The president has now sent in Marines and National Guard forces. But the California Governor Gavin Newsom is taking Donald Trump's administration to court over the use of federal forces. Elex Michaelson is host of the California politics TV show The Issue Is, and he interviewed Gavin Newsom yesterday, so knows exactly what he's thinking, and we can speak to him tonight now. Elex, good morning to you from here. Morning to you.
Hi there. Good morning. Good night. I don't know what time it is, but it's nice to be with you. Elex Michaelson here from Los Angeles. Thank you.
It's great to speak to you. Tell us about Gavin Newsom's tone. Is he enjoying maybe the wrong word, politically? Is this quite a useful fight to him to be having? He's battling Donald Trump on an area he wants to battle him on, or actually is he more reluctant?
I think the cynical answer is that this is good for him politically, to be able to be on the national stage, to be able to go mano a mano with Donald Trump, and to remind the Democratic base, especially in a state like California that doesn't like Donald Trump very much, that he's opposed to Donald Trump. And you see, he really seems to be leaning into this, not only putting out fundraising emails about it, but putting out a whole lot of posts on social media, including a lot of posts from our interview, which is an indication that he thinks that this is an important fight. But you asked me, is he enjoying it? And I've covered Gavin Newsom as much as anybody for many years, and he seemed angry in a way in our interview that I've very rarely seen him. And it wasn't just a performative anger on camera, it was off camera. I think he's very, very frustrated by the way that President Trump is handling this. He's concerned about the precedent that's being set by a federalizing of the National Guard, the idea of Marines moving in. That's not something that you see on the streets of America. There has been a sort of a separation on that front. And so he's worried about where this goes next.
There's a story in the Times today which talks about California as a sanctuary state and LA as a sanctuary city, which implies it really has a different collective view on immigration to the one that Donald Trump feels he was elected to enforce. Is that the case, do you think?
Definitely the case. I mean, California has more illegal immigrants than any other state in the country. 2.4 million illegal immigrants in California, at least 17% of the population are undocumented. And so that's a huge issue here. Sanctuary basically means that the state and the local government does not cooperate with ICE in enforcement of immigration rules. The state of California has said that's to build trust in the community, to be able to take care of people if they're victims of crimes or witnesses to crimes, to be able to have a back and forth relationship where they're not constantly worried about being deported. President Trump thinks everybody should be deported, starting with the criminals first. He has no real sympathy when it comes to immigration, and it's the issue for him that he's the most popular on. So you've got a situation where it's in Donald Trump's best interest to fight the immigration issue and fight Gavin Newsom, and it's in Gavin Newsom's best interest to fight President Trump. Who kind of loses in this? The people of California, who are seeing chaos in some of the streets.
Did the people of California, some people in California, though, think that immigration has gone too far? Would some of them be thinking they might not even like Trump? I mean, some of them, there are clearly Trump Republicans in California, but actually would they feel California is too slack on the issue of immigration?
Sure. I mean, the polls would indicate that the majority of the state does not, but there are clearly people, and because California is the biggest state in the country, there's more Republicans here than anywhere else as well, that are cheering on Donald Trump and that think that the state has gone way too far in terms of being laxed and that like seeing something like this. And so, I think there's some strange bedfellows on this particular issue, and also on the issue of public safety writ large, not even the immigration issue, because these protests in the streets, a lot of them are just agitators and Antifa folks who really have nothing to do with the immigration movement. They just like to create chaos and mess things up and enjoy that process, sort of nihilistic. And so the idea of cracking down on them is something that a lot of folks could agree with the president on. They don't really care who takes them out of the situation. Yeah. They just want to have the streets be safe.
Alex, I wanted to ask you about that, because what came first? Was it the heavy-handedness of Trump sending in the National Guards and, the police firing rubber bullets, or was it the protesters turning ugly? Because it's an interesting point, that because there'll be many people who are peaceably protesting against a policy they feel very strongly about, but there are definitely people throwing rocks and throwing bikes and setting fire to cars. And so which came first?
Yeah, what came first in this particular incident in terms of a timeline was that the ICE was trying to carry out immigration raids, and some of these activists were throwing rocks, throwing bottles, trying to stop the ICE raids from happening. And so that's what started all of this. And then when President Trump saw that, he said, you guys aren't able to take care of your people on your own, so I'm going to send in the National Guard. And then President Trump put out a statement on his Truth Social site that said, the National Guard, I want to give them, great job. They helped calm the situation. The problem was the National Guard hadn't arrived yet. They were 6 hours away from even getting there. So he took credit for them fixing the situation before they were even there. Now the National Guard is there. They're basically protecting two buildings. They're not involved in much of the actual policing involved. And LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department, has had some success in trying to bring things a little bit under control, but we're still seeing problems in the streets and cars burning and vandalism and destruction. And things are far from being calm.
I think that's a very understated way to finish on. Alex, great to speak to you. We really appreciate your insight today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's Elex Michaelson, the host of the California Politics TV show. The Issue is speaking us live from Los Angeles. And again, that point that David Charter revealed in the paper today, which I wasn't fully aware of, California, a sanctuary state, LA, a sanctuary city. And, 17% of people are undocumented migrants because they effectively say we won't cooperate with the federal state in kicking them out.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, especially the politics around that.
I'll give you a minute. Anybody need a minute set up?
Yes, one second. Thank you so much.
We could handle this. I believe that we would have gone through a number of steps before we'd have deployed the National Guard or requested deployment of the National Guard. We would normally go to 50% deployment to handle radio calls and do the business of policing, and everybody else would be focused on the initial problem. Beyond that, then we would request through the sheriff mutual aid, and that would bring in members of the 44 other police departments in LA County as well as the sheriff's office. And so that didn't occur in this case because it wasn't done through the sheriff or through the up through the normal chain. It was done from the top down, from the president directing that happened, and then the National Guard was federalized. So they're working for the U.S. Army, not for the California State National Guard. Do we need them? Well, looking at it tonight, this thing has gotten out of control. I think before I could answer that, I'd have to know more about what their capabilities are, what their role is intended to be able to make that determination. But we have great cops in Southern California here that work together all the time. So we have tremendous capability here. To say that we would go to that right away, I'd say we wouldn't have been there yet. Looking at the violence tonight, I think we got to make a reassessment. This violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. When you look at the numbers of arrests we've made, pale in comparison to what will be made. There are video accounts of what happened everywhere on social media, on individuals, cameras, iPhones. We will go after that very aggressively go after the all available video, analyze that video, and hold whoever we can accountable for the variety of different types of crimes that have been committed